Who's in? Well, the Denver Broncos are in. They clinched a playoff berth due to their win over the Green Bay Packers. The Los Angeles Rams clinched a playoff spot thanks to their win over the Lions. So that's 2 of the 14.
Oh, yeah.
This next week, a lot more can clinch, and I have here in my hands.
Hey.
Playoff clinching scenarios. Everybody. Which one are we going to start with, Hoskins? Which one are we going to start with? You want to start with the AFC? Yes, let's start with the AFC first. The Denver Broncos have a playoff clinching berth scenario to win the West and also the 1 seed. They can walk out of week 16 with both in hand. If they beat the Jaguars and the Chargers lose in Dallas, the AFC West is wrapped.
Oof.
If that happens and the Bills and Patriots also lose, as you know, the Patriots are playing the Ravens, the Bills are in Cleveland, then the Broncos would wrap up the 1 seed with 2 weeks to go. Not so likely, right? That would require the Browns to beat the Bills.
Yeah.
Thank you for the music.
Not likely, but you never know.
The Bills have a playoff clinching scenario. How about that? First time of 2025.
Here we go, yo.
If they win at Cleveland and either the Colts or Texans lose, don't forget the Colts have a Monday night game against Philly Riv. Texans are playing the Raiders.
Colts 49ers on Monday night.
Colts 49ers. What did I say?
You said the Colts were playing against Phillip Rivers.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
That's okay.
Colts are playing with Phillip Rivers against the 49ers.
I'm not going to
Thank you
drag
for
you
that
in the
correction.
comments
Thank
for
you
that,
very much. No, you should play the slow sports
You're
center
allowed to
music
be wrong.
right there. I made a mistake. No, that's okay. So I think Buffalo's not clinching a playoff spot. It's not likely, right?
Not likely.
Okay. Oh, well, actually, a Buffalo win and Indianapolis loss, or there's an or, so they could potentially do it. So if they beat Cleveland, they will be sitting on Monday Night Football rooting for the 49ers to win.
Right.
If that happens, the Bills punch at playoffs.
There you go. I think that might
Take
happen.
it.
Yeah.
The Patriots.
Winning in, right?
All they win it in.
Yeah.
Or an Indianapolis loss would put them in, too.
Oh, nice. Okay, great.
A Houston loss would as well. But the AFC East would still be up for grabs. The Jacksonville Jaguars have a playoff clinching scenario.
Yeah. Respect.
If they win in Denver and Indianapolis loses, they're in. So they need to win and have an Indianapolis or Colts or Texans loss. That's it. So they got the Chargers have a playoff clinching scenario. Boy, they win in Dallas. If LA wins, Jacksonville wins, and the Bills win, and then an Indianapolis Colts loss would punch 3 playoff tickets. Boy, that's a big Monday night game.
Okay, Philly Riv,
that's why
let's go.
Philly Riv came off the couch to save the Colts season and prevent these playoff clinching scenarios from happening. If Indianapolis wins, everybody's got to wait till the next week to punch a playoff ticket, with the exception of New England. They could just do it on their own. All right, in the NFC. I told you the magic number for the Philadelphia Eagles is 1 to win the East, and the playoff clinching scenarios back it up. If Dallas, the Chargers could just put the Eagles in. The Eagles are at Washington on Saturday. That's part of the doubleheader on Fox.
You can't do another tie.
The Bears and Packers play one another. You could.
What was the last time someone had 2 ties?
If the Bears beat the Packers and the Lions lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers, then Chicago clinches a playoff spot. And the same scenario for the Packers. So whoever wins the Bears and the Packers has got a hope for the Steelers to go into Detroit and have a little bit of Rodgers magic once more time in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? All right. Yeah. The Niners have a playoff clinching scenario. All they got to do is beat the Colts, and they're in.
Oh,
they're in.
Nice.
Or if Detroit loses, they'll already know they're in. Boy, the Steelers can punch some playoff tickets too. And the Thursday night football game, as I said, the Rams are already in. Seattle wins, and they're in. And if they don't, then they got to hope for Detroit to lose. That means the Rams do not have the West can't be clinched, even with a win. That's because the Niners are still lurking.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The West won't be won.
That is, the West won't be won. different miniseries. Correct. Those are your Week 16 playoff clinching scenarios. Share it with everybody. So the bottom line is, if the Niners beat the Colts, they would punch their own playoff ticket. Let's just say the Lions beat the Steelers. So the Niners would have to Monday night punch their own playoff ticket by beating the Colts. And if the Bills, Jaguars, and Chargers have already won, they would punch 4 playoff tickets, their own, and 3 in the AFC, because the Colts being eliminated would set that field up.
Thank God there's not a test on this.
All right.
The Broncos, who they've already clinched a playoff berth, but they can clinch the 1 seed at the 7 seed right now. The Packers led Denver 23-14 in the third. Jordan Love threw a pick to a torn ACL. The team visibly deflated after that, and then Denver went on to win. So this is the Broncos' path to the AFC 1 seed. They got to win. They got to beat the Jags. The Chargers have to lose or tie against the Cowboys. The Patriots have to lose to the Ravens, and then the Bills with a loss or a tie against the Browns. So all of those have to happen, which is, it's a lot. It's a lot. But regardless, even all of those things, Lige, I heard you say upstairs when we were having a conversation that you think the Broncos are going to lock up the 1 seed this weekend.
Could be. I mean, the caveat to that is the Buffalo game. I think they could get 3 of those things could happen. I think they could beat the Jaguars, right? I also believe that the Jaguars would lose, so that would put them behind. Sure. And then when you look at the other teams, New England could lose to the Baltimore Ravens. So when you look at that, and then the Chargers play the Dallas Cowboys at Dallas. Now, again, Dallas just lost at home to the Minnesota Vikings. But 3 of those things can happen. I think the one caveat is Buffalo. I don't think Buffalo's losing to the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, so let's go back to Denver and say they do get the 1 seed here in the AFC, and they're going to get a bye, and then they're going to have home field advantage where nobody wants to go and play.
No.
It's a tough place to play.
Very much so.
It is cold. So how dangerous is this team if they do get the 1 seed in the AFC?
The rest of the NFL better look out because when you get to play at home at Mile High, it's one of the best atmospheres in football. And you talked about it. The weather could be a factor. Just imagine that defensive line with the crowd noise behind them. There's a reason why they lead the NFL in sacks currently right now. So if they get to see that all the way through to the Super Bowl, that's an immense advantage for the Denver Broncos. And then if you're Bo Nix, right, you went to the playoffs last year. You went to a crazy atmosphere with the Buffalo Bills. Now you get that atmosphere at home, right? You have the crowd behind you. And we see the confidence he's played with at home. He played really well the other day versus the Packers at home. His confidence is only growing. And he's being one of those guys where people are saying, I don't know if the Broncos can win with Bo Nix or win a championship. Now I think everybody, because of what he's done and how clutch he's been in the fourth quarter, now he's starting to put it together in the beginning of the game. This is one of the most dangerous teams in the NFL.
Yeah, and then we see the AFC West clinching scenarios, of course, Denver.
Now this could happen this weekend.
Okay, exactly. Is this what you were talking about?
I was talking about them clinching up the West.
I thought you were saying the AFC in general.
Well, the Buffalo thing is the only caveat to that one. But this one, this could happen this weekend for sure.
Okay, so we'll have to see. And I'm getting a little nervous for the Jags as we're discussing this, right? But the Jags have a shot. They're a 10-win team, and they can get back to the playoffs for the first time since 2022 with that wild game against the Chargers. I'll never forget it. Man. Now, they were eliminated that year by the Chiefs in the divisional round, but the AFC looks a whole lot different now than it did back then. The Chiefs are out of it.
Correct.
So this version of the Jags, Liam Cohen's version of the Jags, with still obviously Trevor Lawrence in his development, how far can this team go with the way the AFC is made up right now?
I think they need to get at least a number 2 seed to make a run in the playoffs.
Wow.
And when you look at this schedule, the Texans are right on their heels, right? And when you look at both of these teams, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling out to Denver. And I know Jacksonville is probably scratching their head or shaking their head because they allowed the Texans with a second-string quarterback to come back down 19 points and split those 2 games. Like, the Jaguars could technically have this in the bag already, but that one game I think is going to end up being a nightmare for them because the Houston Texans are playing at a different level now. Trevor Lawrence coming off a 6-touchdown game. This is a guy that everybody has been waiting for. We keep talking about potential with him. When is he going to realize that potential? Now, obviously, he has to do it in a playoff setting as well, but for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I love how they're able to run the football, and that defense is so opportunistic. Anthony Campanelli is coming over, and he's brought a new mindset and a new culture to that defense. They can be dangerous, but for me, Jacqueline, they have to get at least the number 2 seed to make a significant run in the playoffs.
Dang, I don't like that.
I mean, and we'll learn a lot about them this week because this could be a playoff matchup in a divisional round, right? Them and the Denver Broncos. So we'll learn a lot about the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road in a hostile environment versus a really good team.
All right, let's talk about the Bills and the Patriots because the Bills certainly made things interesting.
It did.
Beating the Patriots. So technically, the AFC is still up for grabs here. Both of these teams can clinch playoff scenarios here if this weekend. So who do you think is primed for a bigger run? Is it New England or is it the Bills and the way they've been playing lately?
It's hard to go against the Bills and how they've been playing. The interesting thing is New England just has to win those last two games versus Miami and the Jets. Even if they lose to the Ravens, they still own the divisional head-to-head over the Buffalo Bills because Buffalo lost to Miami earlier this year, and you look at the schedule right there. So even if they lose to the Ravens, as long as they beat the Jets and the Dolphins, they're AFC East crowns, which means a team would have to travel to them, and Buffalo would have to start on the road. So that's the only thing. With Buffalo's experience, you would lean on them being able to make a run. I still think if New England gets the home field advantage, they'll go farther than Buffalo will.
Okay, and we saw the Eagles still there on the Bills' schedule. So let's talk about the Eagles in that division because they could be the first back-to-back division winners since this team did it, in like 04?
Forever ago.
Yeah, literally, over 2 decades ago almost. Yeah. But still, people have concerns about this offense. You know, we've heard Eagles fans, calling to fire their OC. So how concerned are you, even though they could be leading the division after that and then beyond that with the way that this offense has looked throughout the season?
I mean, the Cowboys had every chance, Jacqueline, to put all the pressure on the Philadelphia Eagles, and they didn't do it. Right now, the Eagles have to fall off a cliff. They essentially have to lose all 3 of these games, and the Cowboys have to win out. Adversely, if the Cowboys had won this last week, all they needed them to do was split one of the games with the Commanders, and then the Cowboys could have been NFC East champs. But you love how they bounce back now, albeit, and I always say asterisk, albeit, because the Raiders always seem to be a light landing spot for every team that's trying to get back on track on offense. And that's what we saw last week for the Eagles. So are we going to see that team going forward where they're able to push the ball down the field efficiently? Now, Saquon Barkley still didn't run the ball that well, and I think that's the biggest concern for this team. Can they consistently run the ball? Because that is what spearheaded them on that run to get to a Super Bowl. But right now, I don't think they're in danger of losing the NFC East because the Cowboys have faltered down the stretch these last couple games.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Aubrey, what happened to him on Monday night?
Man, 2 missed field goals? You don't expect that from him.
Not at all. I expect him to be able to hit like a 70-yarder.
Was he on your fantasy?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Can you tell?
I felt like there was some dissension there a little bit.
He is my kicker in fantasy, yes. Let's go to the NFC North because we have the Bears currently leading the division, and then the Packers, who it really feels like a couple of plays in that matchup with the Broncos just kind of changed the trajectory of their season, currently sitting as a 7 seed right now in the NFC. So how do you think it all shakes out when it's all said and done?
I mean, the NFC's a gauntlet, right? You're towards the top of the NFC one week. The next week, you're all the way at the 7th seed. And right now, when you look at it, the Packers got hit with the injury bug in the worst way at the wrong time. You talked about a couple plays going their way. And what that injury is like. It's a chest injury. We'll see if he'll be able to go on this short week. Remember, they play on Saturday versus Chicago Bears. I just think right now, when you look at their schedule, it's a gauntlet coming down the stretch. It's going to be tough for them to win the NFC North. Adversely, kudos to Ben Johnson and what he's done with this Bears team because, I mean, people were wondering, could this be sustainable? Them running the ball like they're running them. The way they're able to turn people over, is that sustainable? Jacqueline, they keep doing it every single week, and now they have an opportunity to really solidify their season this week versus the Green Bay Packers and get that lead in that division at home versus the Green Bay Packers and solidify the NFC North crown. They won't win it if they win, but it gives them a leg up in winning that division. Kudos to the Bears. I think they end up winning this division.
Yeah, and they started out, 0-2?
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about.
A lot of question marks early in the season, man. Is Ben Johnson the right guy? Nobody's asking those questions right now.
They certainly are not. Let's go to the NFC West because we have the Seahawks and the Niners that can both clinch a playoff berth in Week 16. I'm impressed with the Niners because, man, they had so many injuries, and here they are still in the mix. And I know Seattle, that's a team that you picked early on to go really, really far.
It's funny because, the 49ers, Jacqueline, are like the redheaded stepchild of the NFC West. They're right there on the heels of the Rams and the Seahawks, but nobody talks about them.
No.
Right? They're literally one game back, but nobody. It's like they're like that middle child that nobody talks about right now. And kudos to Kyle Shanahan, because you talked about it, with all the injuries they endured, Kittle missing a good portion, Purdy missing a good portion, right? You lose your two best defensive players, and yet you're knocking on the door of getting into the playoffs and even still competing for the NFC West crown. And the Seattle Seahawks, the biggest question when it comes to them, you know it's coming, Jacqueline. What Sam Darnold are we going to see in December? And he gets to prove that this week versus the LA Rams. Remember, in that head-to-head matchup earlier versus the Rams, 4 interceptions. You can't do that and expect to win a divisional crown. So he has to have a bounce-back big game. And when you look at that game last week versus the Colts, right, they stalled out in the red zone. You got to finish in the red zone with touchdowns. You can't settle for field goals. Luckily for them, they got one of the best kickers in the league, and Jason Myers. But for the Seattle Seahawks, I think the biggest question for them, what Sam Darnold are we going to see down the stretch?
Yeah, and people were questioning, his NFL future down the stretch last season, and he's come back and looked great so far.
I will say this. Because of the injuries to the Rams, I got the Seattle Seahawks winning this division. This will be a real interesting game Thursday. I hate it because both of these teams don't get a full 6 days rest.
Yeah.
They're playing on a short week, and the Rams are going into this game nicked up. I would have loved to see both of these teams 100% healthy, but I just love the Seattle defense. I think they'll challenge themselves because Phillip Rivers, coming off the couch, kept the Colts in the game. I know that defense has a different standard to how they want to play the game. This will be a really good game on Thursday night to watch. I just wish it was on a regular Sunday where they had the full complement of rest.
So Lijah's got Seattle at plus money.
I got Seattle winning this division, man. The injury bugs hit the Rams at the wrong time.
We'll see what happens. All right, getting a look at some primetime games for Week 16. The aforementioned Seahawks and Rams going head-to-head.